Lisa, this is not charging, na Baba. iPad is not charging. उनका लाना है उनका लाना है बता दे तो charging आता नहीं उनका लाना है no no it's on sometimes it doesn't work चलो बात बात करते
Okay. Good evening. Yes, can you hear me? Karangamis?
Yes, sir.
Savindi? Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
we'll continue because actually this today's schedule is not in our calendar. So only this evening I was asked to conduct this session. So that's what I was busy with some other work, my college official work. So I got late. Okay, yesterday we saw that there are two models. Basically, one is Taylor's model, the other one is the Wheeler's model of curriculum development. So simply you can introduce Taylor's model giving in a nutshell. It is a linear model of curriculum development. Then whereas this Wheeler's model is what? What's that? Wheeler's, yes?
Cycling model.
Yes, cyclical model. So yes, cyclic Wheeler's model is a cyclical model because the process is it's going round like a cycle, right? It has connections with the one and the other one, whereas the Wheeler's model is a linear model because it ends with evaluation and then thereafter there is no connection with the initial steps or the next steps. Okay, so today we'll see the next model, which is called curves model. So we'll go to the screen sharing. That is called the curves. Can you see the screen now? Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Can you see what I am sharing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you can see. Okay. So, so this is called a curves model, the third one. Because in this model, there is a speciality that I was talking about yesterday, that all the four elements, all of these four elements have connections to and fro. In either ways, it has the models, both the elements or the all four elements have connections. So this is called John F. Kerr has developed a complex and comprehensive model on curriculum in 1968. It is known as Kerr's curriculum model. It consists of four main stages or steps as follows. As usual, you know that the first one is the objectives, then the knowledge, then school learning experiences and the evaluation. So as usual, even can you tell me the four stages of Taylor's model? Come on. Can you tell me the four stages of Taylor's model? Anybody? Come. What are the quick? We had it yesterday. Four stages of Taylor's model. What are they? Come on. Those are the same like this. Objectives,
Objective, selective,
contents,
organization,
organization, and evaluation. That is evaluation. That is the Taylor's model. So because we saw 4 questions for objectives, selecting the learning, the content and the organizing, because the questions, what are the educational aims to be attained through the school? How can learning experiences, which may be useful experiences in attaining these objectives, be selected? Then how can these learning experiences be organized? And then how can the effectiveness of learning contents or the elements of Taylor's model? Then so when you speak about the Wheeler's model, again there are 4. So what are they? The first one, again, aims, goals, and objectives. And the next one, selection of learning. The third one, selection of the subject content. And the fourth one is organizing and integrating the experiences. And the final is the evaluation. So this is called the Wheeler's model. It's a cyclical model. So now we are going to see the next model, as I told you now, the Kerr's interconnection of stages. Right. So Kerr has shown in his model how these 4 stages should finally be connected with each other in the following manner. Okay. Oh, wait. So this one. So this Kerr's model, you can see that here on the screen. Okay. So evaluation here, you can see all these 4 elements of his model. They are interconnected. Here you can see the arrows in both ways, here and there, and in all directions they are connected. So the first one is the objectives, knowledge, learning experience, evaluation, because you can cross-check whether the objectives you have achieved the objectives through the evaluation, right? So again, the knowledge and the evaluation, objectives and the school learning experiences. So all these 4 elements or 4 components are interconnected with each other. Okay. So according to this figure, Kerr's basic model is very much similar to the models of Tyler and Wheeler. However, Kerr's model is not cyclic like Wheeler's model. That's what we just now spoke about. No, it's linear like Tyler's. It's not a linear model as well. So it shows how each stage is mutually interrelated with the other. Yeah, it is interrelated with the other. So we can see the, so that is the, you'll see the big diagrams now. After this, I'll just see the special features of Kerr's model. It has 4 main stages, namely, that objectives, evaluation, knowledge, and learning experiences. This model illustrates how all these 4 stages are mutually related to each other. Another distinguishing feature of this model from other models is the indication of other factors and various viewpoints that need to be considered in taking decisions related to each stage. So let us now analyze each of these stages separately, right? Because you have to take into consideration when you form the objectives. There are some points that Kerr has specifically pointed out. So when forming your evaluation system, when forming your learning experiences, and when forming your knowledge, when constructing your knowledge. So what is expected to be taken place in the curriculum of the student. or the system. Okay. So now here see, deciding the objectives of a curriculum. The first one is the objectives. Right? The first one is the objectives. Okay. So deciding the objectives of a curriculum. That's the first one. So when you decide the objectives, so when you form the objectives of curriculum, that is the initial step, you know that. According to Kerr, the objectives of a curriculum are decided as indicated in this figure. It's like that, right? So there are some sources, there are some fields, right? So you have to take, you should consider all these, even not only these, yes, pointed out some. In your case, or in our scenario, or in any case, so there can be some other, what do you call this, objectives. While deciding the objectives, there can be some other points also to be taken into consideration. Okay, so this is the society. So when you prepare or when you form an objective, you should think about the society, because where the student or where the school is. So what the society we have been talking about, what the society is expecting from the school. So what are the outputs that are directly or indirectly that's going to affect the society? Then the disciplines. So in what are the disciplines that you're going? So in another word, you can say the subjects or the titles or anything like that. So the disciplines. Then the psychomotor, it is very important. So when you speak about the psychology, there are some psychomotor, affective and cognitive fields are there, right? So that is one. Then the affective. So the cognitive, it's learning, the knowledge that is based. Then the pupils. Then also you're going to talk about the pupils. You have to consider the pupils, his willingness. Even in the last class also, he saw that his willingness, his readiness, the students, those things. So those things should be taken into consideration while constructing the objectives. So according to this figure, objectives are decided according to the nature of the pupil. Society and subjects on the one hand, and Bloom's educational taxonomy on the other. So he has taken into consideration of at the time of Wheeler developing his own curriculum, the cyclical system of this curriculum model. There was Bloom's educational taxonomy also was introduced or was put forward by Bloom at that time, but he didn't give much priority or he didn't consider it much. But now, whereas Kerr has considered Bloom's educational taxonomy as well. So it is a far better model when compared to this Tyler and Wheeler. So next one, selection of knowledge necessary to achieve the objectives and drawing up of the curriculum. Right. So that is the next one, right? So you are going to build up the knowledge. So what is going to be included in the knowledge based on the knowledge side, right? So the subjects and the disciplines, what you call, or the titles or the meta or anything. Selection and organization of concepts and principles that you're going to select. Based on what? Integration, sequence, reiteration, right? So these things are very important, right? Because they have to be interrelated. Each and every knowledge or every part of the subject matter content should be integrated with another. And also there should be a sequence that I told you we was talking yesterday, from the basic to the complex, from the known to the unknown. There should be a sequence and reiteration also, because you have to reiterate. You have to reinforce by again and again. You have to put forward that knowledge to the students. So that also should be there considered when building up the knowledge-based side of the curriculum. So here the organization of knowledge is done on the basis of concepts and principles related to different subject areas. Knowledge is reinforced by means of reiteration in an integrated and sequential order. So it has to be in a sequential order and integrated manner. Next, ways of imparting learning experiences. How you are going to construct the learning experiences you can get from that is a very vast area, because you are going to see the societal opportunities, school community, pupil-teacher relationships, individual differences, pupils' readiness, subject areas, teaching methods. So all these things like you will take into consideration when forming the school learning experiences. So that is, what do you mean by school learning experiences? Can you tell me? Now tell me, what do you mean by school learning experiences? In another word, in our word, what is that? Learning experience, what's that? Come on. In a lesson. So when you deliver or when you prepare, or so even when you prepare a curriculum, or what is meant by school learning experiences? Now, let me know just your ideas. Come on. Tell me. What?
That anything you gain, not only the academics, anything like overall what you get.
Yes,
To the
yes.
real.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's you are talking. The ultimate result of that learning experience, that anything you get, right? What I am asking, in the order, like the objectives, the knowledge, and learning experiences means what? Ask. What do you mean by that? That is how you prepare or how you deliver your lesson or the curriculum to the students. Because you can deliver something, you can let the students know by doing a practical, or by doing an acting, or by just in a written format, or just in an oral format, or just take them out of the class. It is what we call the field trip. You can take them as a field trip. So this is called the school learning experience, because you provide different learning experiences in order to attain the knowledge and the objectives of that. So that will come into the lesson planning or the curriculum planning. From the curriculum, you extract or you filter out the lesson planning. So that is called the school learning experiences. Then the next one. So in this model, it has been pointed out that in selecting the learning experiences, all the factors that influence learning experience, namely social opportunities, that it is there in the concept map, school community, pupil, teacher relationships, individual difference relations, readiness, lesson content and teaching method should be taken in consideration. Next one, D1, the evaluation procedure. That is the final procedure, evaluation. So when you prepare an evaluation system, that again you are going to take look at what it can be of different forms, of different ways. The first one is a test. It's an examination. So other test in the sense, it could be normally what we call a test means it is a written test, right? That is the mostly focused exams. Then you can have it as a oral test, or you can have it as a practical test. So there could be some other varieties, differentiation of tests. Then discussion. Even you can discuss with the students and evaluate them. It's not necessary that you give them a paper and ask them to write and you allocate marks and just give them A, B, C, or D. But even while discussing with the students itself, a teacher can evaluate the student, right, from his ideas. So how the teacher, how the pupil interact with the theme. So that is the theme in the sense what I'm talking about, the knowledge. So what he or she, the student, has gained from that. So what is that I was talking about, the transformation knowledge, right? The next step of knowledge, the next step of experience, the next step of skill that a teacher, that a student can get from the present or the prevailing theme, what is taught by the teacher. That is called the transformation of knowledge. So while discussing itself, you can simply evaluate the students, right? Okay. And it is not also, it's not going to be a burden to the students. Even the students will like it, this setup. Rather, when compared to written examination, discussion is most welcome by the students, because they can express they don't find it or they don't feel it, it's a burden. Okay. Next one is an assessment. So assessment you can give then and there. You don't have to wait until you finish all the class. Even so, assessment can be a way of evaluating the students. The other evaluation, even you can evaluate the students with some other methods, any other methods, right? Okay, you can evaluate the students by observing them, right? You can evaluate the students by observing them. So observation means there are two types of observations. One is direct observation, and the other one is another one is an indirect observation. So can you tell me what is a direct observation and an indirect observation? Come on, anybody? Or you can give it a name, another name, like the primary observation or a secondary observation. This also can be given. So can you tell me what is a direct and indirect or primary or secondary observation? Come on. You have any ideas?
Direct observation is like what you observe and like what you do.
Then
The primary, directly you're involving it. The secondary is sorry?
Secondary. The indirect or secondary means?
Yeah, indirectly means like based on some document, someone like some not directly input on the
Yes.
Any writing or any work.
Yeah. Observation is direct means you can straight away involve. You can from that point itself you can observe. You give some work or give a practical to the students to do, or you just let the students to discuss on a topic, or let the students do some presentation. So you just observe them, right? How they behave, how they come under the leadership, how they get together and doing it as a group or something like that. Directly you can observe. Indirect observation means you just without knowing the students, they don't know that you are observing them. That is one type, indirect or second. In another observation is there, you are not going to involve in that observation. You will have your agent. You'll ask some other teacher, or you ask some other senior students, or you ask some other people, you just give them a criteria and you ask them to observe these students even outside the class, or inside the class or outside the class. You just ask, you get the help of others. You are not going to involve directly into that. So that will also come under secondary observation. So likewise, there are so many types of evaluation. So that can be done, right? Okay. So thus it has been shown how evaluation should be done through tests, interviews, assignments, and other means of evaluation. And a model for evaluation in appropriate and active manner will be presented. The other one is illustrating the evaluation processes mutually related to other stages. And Kerr, in introducing his model, has made use of the available of educational research, such as taxonomy. Yeah, again, is coming to the Bloom's taxonomy. Taxonomy for educational objectives. Phoenix's knowledge map and the concept of integration. Whereas Wiener and Taylor failed to use these things. They take Taylor, of course, was not much considered, but the Wheeler had the chance of taking into act of these things, but he failed. He didn't do it. So these models are very effective precedents for curriculum development, especially to countries such as Sri Lanka having complex needs. Yeah, in our country, you know that we have complex needs in the output. We don't expect a linear output, right? So we expect some varieties of outputs from because we need something on the economical side. We need something on the technology side, and we need something on, especially based on the cultural side as well. So it is a complex output that is expected from the curriculum of Sri Lanka. And we have some what do you call this cultural values, ethics, and but whereas some other countries or some other Western or some they might give a very less weight to those things, but they might give some other things very important. So likewise, so Sri Lanka is actually it has a complex needs that we expect a lot something complexity from the students. Okay, now this is Kerr's model. You can see this how they are related. So I have taken all these things. So this is the overall view of Kerr's curriculum model. You can see the objectives here. So that is the first one. Then the knowledge. Then from that you are going to get the school learning experience, and from that you have the evaluation, and also you get the interconnected with this all four, and these cross connections are also there. So we have taken into consideration, we have put together everything, all these the parts, the elements that form the objectives, that form the knowledge, and that form the school learning experience, and that form the test interviews. This is the other one that just we saw. So this is the Kerr's curriculum model. So it is something which suits a country like Sri Lanka or some other developing countries, right? This is the one that Kerr has put forth. So this is called the Kerr's model. So, but anyhow, there will be some weaknesses also because it is man-made. So definitely there will be some other setbacks with time, as age, that you might have some other problems to the next generation. Okay, you will see that. So the weakness in Kerr's model, not all the objectives can be separated as behavioral objectives. That is another one. It is difficult to observe the behavioral change resulting from aesthetic subjects such as art and literature. For example, even though the teacher taught how to appreciate a verse, it is not possible to say whether the behavioral change occurred in all the pupils. Thus, the aims and goals are not achieved uniformly by everybody as expected. Not all pupils reach the end target as envisaged. So this is what they give stress to the behavioral changes of the student. So it says that you cannot easily measure the behavioral changes of the student. They have given for an example art and literature subject. The attitudinal changes and the behavioral changes that is expected to be taken place, but you cannot measure the behavioral changes of a student, whether it is achieved or not. So that is weakness in personal, but you don't have to, from my view, we don't have to worry much on the side because in each and every system of learning or the curriculum, you cannot measure all because we are dealing with human beings, not with machines. So you cannot predict. So you can't expect 100% what you teach as the outcome there. So that is not that much given stressed, I think, in my view, this weakness, what is shown here in Kerr's model. So we'll go to the next model. It's called the Skillback's model. So that was in 1969. This he has integrated the cultural background to this model. That is the speciality of this model. All the other models, all three models that we 1, 2, 3, Kerr's, yeah, that they didn't give much interest towards the cultural, but he has given the cultural analysis of this model. So Malcolm Skillback can be regarded as an individual who introduced a model that provided a specific freedom from the shackles of traditional models. Right? Okay. So in the curricular development process, this model known as Skillback's model is called a cultural analysis model. So he has taken into consideration of the culture, right, at the time of his where he lived, So the cultures they differ from place to place to another ethnicity. You know that even within a country we have different cultures. So he has taken into consideration when drawing up curriculum about the cultural influence as well. So that is called because you know the student should not be forced to learn anything that is beyond his culture or beyond what which is unknown to him. So that is his point of view there, right? So that is from the shackles of that he's introducing the writer here. They introduce the term shackles here. That means it prevents free action, right? From the traditional models, all other models. So Skillberg's cultural analysis model states that children's thoughts and activities should be linked by selecting formal cultural features. Holt in 1970 subscribed to this idea, mentioned that. So Holt, another scholar, he was talking about scholars, Skillberg's model as well, right? Skillberg presents alternative cultural designs as the core of the common curriculum. So that's going to be the core, the main part of the common curriculum, the cultural desires or the expectations of the society. So it is based on the analysis of the major characteristics and trends of the major existing culture. So he suggests that the following activities are important in this regard. Okay. The first one is actual functional situations and economic activities. So that is very important. When we talk about the culture, there is also another one that is by what do we call it is they are the social economical background also there. So the economic activities. Then the social rules and the process that have a social meaning. Then symbols of basic human behavior patterns, such as the language, mathematics, scientific concepts, and religion that we were talking about, religion, the ethnicity where we live, and the ethics and the values of the societies. Some we have in common and some we have specific. So those things. Then the hobbies and the recreational activities, then the institutional form. Right? Okay. Then again, government and societal policies, the individual interrelationships, individual creative presentations. So Holt, he was subscribing to Skillberg's concept in 1979. So this is the Skillberg's model. You can see that. So situation analysis, goal formulation, program building, interpretation and implementation, maintaining feedback, assessment, and records. He has given some other alternative terms here, right? Here, all other models begin with what? Begin with what? Come on. All other models like Tyler's or Wheeler's or Kerr's model, they begin with what?
Objective.
Yes, objectives. But whereas he has given another word, what is that? Goal formation here. Right? Before this goal formation, it is in another word, in another term of objective. No? Goal formation is before that goal formation, he has taken the situational analysis, Skillberg. So situational analysis in the sense that he is going to the society, the situation where the learner is going to learn. So that is, he has, in another word, says that the culture of the society. So before forming the objectives, or what you call the goal formation, so the situational analysis should be done, he says. Then after he is building the program building, so that is the knowledge is building. Then the interpretation and implementation. So that these are the learning experiences you give. In another word, when you speak about comparing with the others. So these are the interpretation and implementation. Then maintaining feedback, assessment, and reconstruction, that we saw that in the evaluation, like an evaluation, right? Because he wants to get the feedback of his curriculum or of implementing a curriculum. Or even, in other words, say that if you make it very to a simple unit, it is a classroom teaching. So you want to get the maintaining, feedback, assessment, and reconstruction. In case if the teacher has failed or if the students have failed to cope up with what is expected there. So you have to reconstruct your lesson. You have to reconstruct your goal formation, program building again, and you have to repeatedly have to do it. So it has a connection with situational analysis and maintaining feedback, assessments, and reconstruction. So that is given there. Right? That is the difference between this and that. So Malcolm Skillbeck does not begin his curriculum model by determining the objectives in the traditional manner. That's what we are talking about. He states that a situational analysis of the prevailing situation should be made for this purpose. So before forming the objectives, so what he has in his terms, he has called the goal formation. So before that, you have to go to the situational analysis. He insists that first and foremost, the situation, the place, the region or locality and country for which the curriculum development is required should be analyzed. So these are two areas for the study of their situations. A UNESCO publication mentions these two areas as follows, right? So there you are going to study about the situation, right? The UNESCO is mentioned like this. We'll see that. So two areas for the studies. First one, identification of the changing needs of the society. So we are going to the culture-based. So you have to identify or you have to come to a conclusion that the changing needs, what are the changing needs of this particular society, of this, the people of this country. One, surveying the prevailing training programs for the purpose of determining the nature of their shortcomings. Again, there will be some other training programs going on or some other curriculum already that they have introduced. So again, you have to survey that curriculum. Again, you have to survey that sort of learning scenarios or the training programs for the purpose of determining the nature of the shortcomings. So by analyzing that or by just undertaking a survey of those programs, you'll come to know the shortcomings. So you'll come to know where you are going to make the changes. Okay. So that is, those are the two areas. Next, based on the available facilities and the existing constraints, appropriate strategies are selected to overcome this. Yeah, that then from that, based on this, you will create or you'll put forward your own strategy to overcome these shortcomings. And there could be some other shortcomings, you know that. So that will be fulfilled by your replaced or latest objectives or goal formation. So the constant demand in the existing social system is regarded as the requirement that has to be highlighted in this curriculum development. So after studying the situations, goals are set to overcome the prevailing situation. So that we now just so you are going to study the situation. You just find out what is lacking or what should be changed. Then you just adjust all these things and then put forward a new goal. That is the for this assistance is sought through the solution analysis of national, regional, rural, and environmental issues. Yeah, that we are going to see that. And we'll take the national issues, the environmental, the regional issues, the rural issues. In order to achieve the selected goals, the next step is to identify the weaknesses, nature, and extent of the existing curriculum. So this is called curriculum processing. You know that. After processing the curriculum, its content and the learning experiences are planned. On the basis of all this data, final evaluation is undertaken. So based on the result of this evaluation process of situational analysis are undertaken again. In this manner, a new cycle begins at the end of each cycle. So this is depicted as a continuous curriculum development process. Right? So we'll see the special features of Skillbeck's model. Rather than recommending a common curriculum for all, this model formulates the curriculum after analyzing the situation that suits to the province, region, economy, and society. So he says that different regions can have different curriculum system development systems, but unfortunately in Sri Lanka or most of the countries we don't have. So they have national policy. So under that national policy that I was talking about in my early classes, a student from the Colombo and a student from the somewhere in the rural area will have the same syllabus, same curriculum, and the same guide. Next, this relieves the pupils from learning what is not useful to their life. Yeah, that's another thing. If it is not useful, if the student is see that he sees that there's nothing to be done with his present or future life, so it's pointless learning something that is unwanted to a student. So we're just putting all the unwanted stuff on the head of the students. It's better to be selective in order to get the useful ideas or useful curriculum contents that will help his future life. So they learn only what is useful to life and beneficial to the environment. So that is another one here. A country which implements such a curriculum development model can derive the maximum benefits from the national wealth spent on education, because they are going to, even in our country and as well as some other, we are spending a lot from our annual budget or annual allocation. So we are spending a lot to the on the education sector now. So, but how is going to be the reap or the harvest of that? So, in case if it is unwanted, or if it is irrelevant expectation of the society, so millions and billions on it. So what is the ultimate target, or what is the ultimate harvest? There's nothing, right? So just it will be just only a paper qualification. The student will get only a paper qualification. So there will be no practicability. So the country will get nothing from that. Okay, so that you can see that in our country as well. Okay, so next one. For a country like Sri Lanka with multicultural characteristics, a curriculum model such as will be more appropriate. It is basically, this concept is accepted, but practically it is very much impossible to have different curriculum system for different provinces or different regions or different language speaking people or different cultures or different religions. So it is theoretically it is okay, but practicability is very very less when you speak about the practicability of the content. Since this curriculum development model is an ongoing process that undergoes revision continually, none of the activities included in it will become obsolete. Right? So that is another one. You know why? Because this the curriculum development model is an ongoing process that undergoes revision continually, right? Because you are not going to stick to one point. All these topics, all these contents, or all these steps will undergo a revision, and they will make the necessary changes that are accepted, so that they feel that the developers, the policymakers, or the planners of the country, or the educationists, who are the people who are involved in this, so they'll just simply leave out something. They simply take into consideration, take into the action something. So that will so none of these activities here included in it will become obsolete, right? Because you cannot have normally you don't have a permanent one, or normally you don't leave out everything. So then and there, the needed one, or the needed content will be included. Next one. Weaknesses in skill-based model. So there are some weaknesses, what we see. This is regarded as a model that bestows unlimited freedom. That is another one. So if we ask, what do you call this, a person or team of experts a team of teachers or anybody, right? To prepare curriculum using the skill-based model, it gives the ideas from the society because it is based on the cultural or based on the situational ideas. So it will give you an unlimited freedom. So you, as you wish, you will include everything or you will exclude everything. The next one, the situational analysis approach only determines the goals, but does not set any other limits again, right? So they are speaking about the goals, but there is no limits. The knowledge imparted through education is not equal throughout the country. That is another one that we are talking about. So if you put forward some goals or the objectives concerning the cultures or concerning the languages used or concerning the regions, then it will not be distributed equally throughout the country. So this is another problem. So the national evaluation or when you select the students to the university or some other higher education, it's going to give you a big headache on the basis on how you are going to select with different systems, with different curriculums. So that is another problem. This creates problem during certification. Yeah, again, that's what I was talking about. So it is not possible to make use of factors such as people's age and principles of psychology in this model. This happens because the goals of such a model are determined by the situational analysis of the regional culture. Yeah, again, the situation is based on the regional culture. So the region might have different languages or the different ethics or the ethnicity, different um, group of people or the different faith, people who follow different faiths. In other words, you can say the different religions. So you cannot make use of factors, age and principles of psychology. You cannot intake into it because rather than getting the age and the psychological principles of education, these things, the territorial or the regional elements that will influence more on this. So there is another problem in this. So with this, we'll wind up this session because it's just about how many 45, 50 minutes only. It's so we'll stop with this because yesterday also we had a lesson, so I don't want to keep you continuously for another hour. So in the next lesson, I'll send these notes also because I was asked to do it very quickly because you have to confirm and wind up by December or something like that. So in the next session, we'll go to the psychological influences. Towards the curriculum. Yes, excuse me. Yes. Sorry, there was a disturbance. Okay. So in the next class we'll see the psychological influences. So now we have seen some models. So we have seen what is curriculum. So what are the basic concepts of curriculum? What are the definitions of curriculum? Then we have seen some model, the construction, so the style or the construction style of the system structure of different models, and the positives, or what you call in an optimistic side or in a pessimistic side, on different models, and which models, if you are asked to adapt a model to Sri Lanka, then you will come to a conclusion and which is best, or you can either take this or that, or you can mingle everything, just mix together everything. Even you can put forward your own model, just because whether it is right or wrong, even you also have the idea, you also have the freedom of putting forward your own model as a teacher, because now we have learned something, we have the classroom experience, theoretical experiences. So you see that you also can put forward a model, because I just give you a question. In that assembly, it's okay. You can justify your model. You can argue that this is correct or this is the most suitable one. It's okay. Marks will be given to that, right? Okay, likewise. So in the next session, we'll see the relationships between the education and psychology. So what is a psychology? You know, you have already learned something like this in a degrees or in other courses. So the education and psychology, then Piaget's psychological ideas is the education psychologist. Piaget is considered as the father of education psychology, because Piaget, you know that he had 3 children. So he studied, he did all his studies on his 3 children, his own children, right? Then he came to some other conclusion, especially the child psychology or child and educational psychology. Piaget is considered the most famous one. Then, so how these ideas, Piaget's ideas, will influence in planning curriculum. That also will be seen there. How these ideas will influence. Then again, we'll see another scholar is called the Bruner, right? Bruner's psychological ideas, that also we'll see that. So how his ideas influence in preparing a curriculum, right? So why it is important to include Bruner's ideas in preparing a curriculum or something like that. So that also will be dealt. It's a big, it's a lengthy one. Then various other psychological ideas also we have seen in formulation of a curriculum. So this psychological part that we are going to deal as the next in the next session, right? So that will go take you to the psychology, education, and from that how it is related to the curricular development system. So these things will be dealt in depth. So I think you have, so by now we have completed the models of curricular development. Okay. So now we are going to see the factors that influence when developing a curriculum. Right? Okay. So I'll stop with this.
Yeah, so
Yes.
one question.
Yeah.
So we have received our assignments.
Yeah.
In that, the first thing is the explain the concept of curriculum and giving various definitions that we have already covered, I guess.
Yes.
In principles of curriculum constructions, we covered it as well. So designs of curriculum, it's supposed to be done.
Yes.
Designs,
yes.
yeah. And then the Taylor's model, we have described the Taylor's model, and co-curricular activities, why co-curricular activities need in the school curriculum. That's the last question.
Yeah. So now this is what you have to keep in mind. So each, now you have to do something, you have to search, you have to find out something, you have to put forward your own ideas. So some questions will be based on those, because it's not cut and paste, or it's not copying, or it's not translating, or it's not interpreting what is there. So you have, that's what we are talking about. The last stage of the learning is called the transformation. So from this, now you can develop your own ideas, right? So this is this was actually given as a model, right? Because you see that it is there. The date was given there, 2022. Can you see that on top? In that assignment, can you see that, Tanagamis? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this is based on this. This is a model. This is a past question paper, past assignment, right? So this was a sample that given to you. So have you been asked to write the answers for this? No?
So the questions which I mentioned now, those are that was our assignment. So we have to answer all those questions and submit by next month.
Right. Okay. But actually, I was asked to prepare a fresh assignment, right?
Okay.
Assignment based on these things. I don't know. I'll speak to Mr. Rizak, the director, regarding your this matter. What you
Maybe
have brought
that's
up.
for the final exam. No, but it's a summer, right? The final exam will be again in December.
But you don't have a written exam, no? It's only an assignment based one, no?
We are going to have an exam as well, so like online kind of thing. Then we have to answer at the same time, I guess. Yeah, it will be happening in December.
I don't know that we have to. They have to instruct me that we have to speak regarding that one as well. I don't know how they are going to finalize the final evaluation, whether it's with the assignments or with the online or with some other presentations. I don't know. That's up to I'll speak to him. Okay, but before that, you have to complete the syllabus. That is very important because the classes time given to us is very short, right? It's not enough. Actually the time is. That's what I have given up all the other ideas and just sticking to this textbook because of this time, limited time. Otherwise, we can go so deep and some more deep, getting some ideas from other references and as well. So I started like that doing, but then I got to know that the time it was very much limited now. Before by December or something like by the end of December that you have to finish everything, it seems. So even I have to cover up the Tamil medium syllabus also there. So okay. Anyhow, you just I'll speak to him, or I'll ask him to let you know how to whether this is the same assignment or that we are going to give or get a new assignment based on this, taking this one as a sample or a model. So this is how the questions you're going to get or something like that. I don't know. Right? Okay, I'll ask him. But anyhow, you just if you're asked to prepare answers for this, you just prepare your answers with this. And I think almost you can write everything. So, but you have to do some what do you call this, self work or self learning also, to cover up. So you can just refer these notes. You can get your own ideas because as teachers, actually, you have a lot of ideas, a lot of experience. So you can just put them into this and make it more colorful. Your answer will be more attractive while reading, because if you have, when assessing or the examiner, when you write something or when you speak out something or when you present something, so at the initial step itself, I don't know, we can come to a conclusion that whether you have the best idea on it or you are just struggling. So that is up to you, because you have so many academic and professional experiences. So, right, I expect you will do it. Right, all the rest you also ask your doubt whether to answer this assignment or this is a sample and another new assignment will be given. Because I was asked, I got the message, it is like this: please prepare one assignment for Tamil medium and English medium students. And I was given this assignment, the Tamil medium assignment and the English medium assignment. So I thought that it was a sample. I don't know whether this is the assignment or this is going to be a sample, and I will give you another set of assignments. And we'll speak to him. But anyhow, you be prepared based on the same, because we have been repeatedly talking about something that is now, I hope that you are very much familiar with this. I get this Ilma. Ilma, can you switch on your mic and speak out? Ilma?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah. Were you present in our previous classes? Were you there?
No, sir. Actually, this is the first lecture I'm
Right, you are
attending.
attending. Okay. Where are you from?
I'm from Kandy.
Candy, you are a teacher or a student or?
Yeah, sir. I am a teacher for around 3 years, and now I am on leave.
On leave.
Yeah,
Okay.
sir.
You are in the country, in Sri Lanka or abroad now?
I was abroad, and now I am in the country.
In the country. So you are a teacher, a graduate teacher or college pass out teacher?
Sir, can you hear me?
How was the appointment? What was the appointment? Where were you teaching? In a private school or government school?
In a private school.
In a private school. So what was the subject there?
I was teaching Islam and Arabic literature.
Are you a Maulaviya or?
Yeah, I am.
So right, anyhow, it's okay. So I can send you all the notes.
Okay,
Even in the previous notes, just drop me a message in your, I'll give you my just note down my WhatsApp number, then I
Sure,
will send you all the notes. 075, just note it down.
Okay, 075
77
77
646
646
11.
11. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Just message me and I can send you all the previous notes and these notes as well.
Okay, sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll wind up with this. Okay. See you in the next class. I don't know when is the next class. Okay. Good night, all of you. Okay.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.